and welcome to a video in which I will demonstrate setting up Pro Tools for 7.1.2 immersive mixing. In this particular case, it is a post-production project and it is already set up and routed, and we want to set up the folder track post-production routing scheme that is used in this course. We demonstrated this already on a previous video for stereo, and this is doing it for 7.1.2. So what you do is you make 4 new 7.1.2 routing folders. 7.1.2 routing folders. And these are all going to feed the master mix bus. So I'm going to Option Shift here, do to selected, and make sure they're all fed to the mix bus. And they are already fed to the mix bus. So we're good there. And we're going to name each one for the different category that of post-production element. So one could be named dialogue, next could be sound effect, ambience, and music. And I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm going to name dialogue DX because that is something that is common in the post-production world. And I'm going to name the sound effects FX because that's another thing you might see in the post-production world, another abbreviation. Ambience, unfortunately, I don't have a cute abbreviation for that, so I'm just going to name that ambience. And the last one, music, sometimes this is abbreviated as MX, which is kind of cool. So there you go. And I'm also going to name my aux sends that feed these folder tracks, name them as well for what they are. So I'm going to right click there and rename this folder DX for dialogue. And I'm going to rename the sound effects one FX for sound effects. And I'm going to name the ambience ambience, if I can spell it right. And of course, MX for music. Music. And I'm going to drop the elements, and boy, did I make it kind of simple here for you. It's already color coded. We're going to drop all of these red dialogue tracks into the folder of DX dialogue. And the sound effects here, and it's kind of hard to say what's sound effects and what's ambience. I don't know. The separation is often very, very similar, but let's take these purples and put them into the sound effects folder. And we'll take this kind of bright green here and we'll drop that. These are going to be our ambience. And the music is very simple for this particular project. It is one stereo track. One step left, we've got to make sure each of these tracks is routed to the correct aux. In this case, we want the dialogue to, and I'm going to do to selected here, which is Option Shift, and I'm going to route them to the DX bus, which is way down here, DX. So now I'm going to hide that panner. And the FX, they all need to go to the FX bus. Well, I have to show you what I did here. I clicked on one and shift clicked there, and I was able to select all of the consecutive sound effects. And now we're going to do to selected, Option Shift, and route all these guys to sound effects. And let's do the same for ambience. We're going to shift select there and Option Shift, do to selected, and where is the ambience hiding? Very strange. The ambience seems to have gone somewhere else, and it's gone to the higher buses. So whatever, there it is. And lastly, we're going to take the music, and no fancy macros required. We can just send that off to the music bus. So you may want to, I would suggest color coding. I like the idea of color coding. I'm going to select these two, double click. I like that light blue. I'm going to take the ambience, and some people would like to color code. Some people like to leave their masters different colors. You do whatever you want. I like the color coding scheme. And of course, as I think you've already seen in the other assignments, what's really nice about this strategy is you can close your folders and only show what you're working on. And there's some other advantages, the folder tracks as well, way solo safes and that kind of thing works. But basically, we're all set up. There'll be some more videos on panning and limiting and all that, but you're good to go with the setup and the internal layback and folder tracks. Thank you. Bye-bye.